I lived in the shadow of power for 12 years. My name is Lian Seo, and I was the personal videographer for General Secretary Rasa Bellos, the supreme leader of Eransia. For 12 years, I documented every moment of his reign, every speech, every meeting, every execution. At first, I believed it was an honor. I was given the highest classification in the state, special rations, a private car, access to places ordinary citizens would never see. My wife, Sujin, cried the night I was appointed. Tears of joy, she said. Our daughter, Seoyeon, was only 5 years old. She thought her father had become someone important. I wanted to give them a better life. I believed I could, but the world behind the camera was different from what I had imagined. I saw things no human should witness. The General Secretary's birthday banquet. Imported wine and caviar overflowing on gold-trimmed plates. That same night, in the border regions, people were boiling tree bark to survive. I filmed that too. For the poverty eradication records, they called it. In the conference room, purge lists were read aloud monthly. Names crossed off. Families erased. No trace left behind. And I stood there, camera rolling, capturing it all. I told myself I was just doing my job. I told myself I had no choice. But the lens doesn't lie. And neither does the heart. Spring of 2018. That's when everything changed. I was assigned to film at the border. Defector punishment documentation, they called it. A young man, 23 years old, knelt before the barbed wire fence. In his pocket, they found 3 ears of corn. That was his crime. The executioner raised his rifle. I raised my camera. The trigger was pulled. My hands trembled. The footage shook. They made me film it again. 3 times. I filmed that boy's death 3 times. That night, I vomited in my quarters. I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the man staring back. 12 years of files flashed through my mind. Lavish banquets, underground torture chambers, starving children, collapsed factories, 213 classified video files. Truths the world needed to see. That night, I made my decision. The escape plan took 6 months to prepare. I obtained maps of the underground drainage tunnels. I memorized the guard rotation schedules at the border. I encrypted all 213 files onto a micro-memory chip. I tore open the lining of my fireproof jacket and sewed the chip inside. November 3, 2024. My last filming assignment. Western media criticism, propaganda video. 200 kilometers from the border. That morning, I held Sujin and Seoyeon tight. Come back in 2 days, Sujin said. Daddy, bring me a present. Seoyeon laughed. I couldn't say anything. I just held them. After filming ended, I separated from my crew. Told them I needed the restroom. Said I'd be back in 10 minutes. But I never returned. The entrance to the abandoned drainage tunnel was behind an industrial complex. A rusted iron door. I had already cut the lock. The moment I stepped inside, the world disappeared. Only darkness and the stench of decay remained. 10 centimeters of stagnant water covered the tunnel floor. Water dripped from pipes overhead. With only a flashlight, I walked forward. 30 minutes in, I heard sounds behind me. Dogs barking. Military hounds. The search team had mobilized. Faster than I expected. I turned off my light and started running. My hands scraped against the slimy walls. My knees hit the ground. Rats scattered beneath my feet. The barking grew closer. A junction appeared. I needed to go left. I had memorized the map, but in the darkness, everything looked the same. I threw myself to the left. A narrower passage. I had to bend over. My backpack caught on the ceiling. The sound of fabric tearing. The chip. Was the chip still there? I felt with my hands. Still there. Still safe. An hour passed. Maybe 2. Time lost all meaning. Then I saw it. The exit. Moonlight filtering through a grated cover. I pushed the grate upward. It weighed at least 30 pounds. My arms had no strength left, but I pushed. The grate opened. Cold air hit my face. The river. The border river. Across the water was Locarcia. Freedom. But the river was 50 meters wide. November water, cold as ice. Behind me, whistles blew. The search team was closing in. I had no choice. I jumped into the river. The moment my foot touched the water, my entire body felt like it was freezing. I couldn't breathe, but I swam. My bag absorbed water, dragging me down. My arms went numb. My legs stopped moving. Halfway across, a gunshot rang out. Water splashed beside me. Stop, stop right there. Eransia words. A familiar accent. I held my breath and dove underwater. My lungs felt like they would burst. When I surfaced, the opposite shore was 10 meters away. Another gunshot. Closer this time. I squeezed out my last bit of strength and swam. My hand touched gravel. The riverbank. I crawled out of the water. Locarsian soil. Freedom. Behind me, shouting continued, but they couldn't cross the border. I collapsed on the mud. The sky spun above me. My entire body trembled. I felt inside my jacket. The chip was still there. 213 truths. 12 years of guilt. I laughed. Or maybe I cried. 3 days later, I reached a border village. A small church stood there. I knocked on the door. A priest opened it and gasped at my appearance. "Please help me," I said in Eransian. He brought me inside. 2 days later, Locarsian intelligence arrived. I handed them the chip. This is the truth of Eransia. It took 2 months for the files to be released. International media exploded. A UN investigation team was formed. Banquet footage, purge lists, public executions, starving villages. The world was shocked, but I was no hero. I received news about Sujin and Seoyeon. The day after my escape, they were arrested. Family of a traitor, the charge read. Missing. Rumors said they were sent to a labor camp. I had abandoned them to save myself. I gained freedom, but every night, I see them. Sujin's crying. Seoyeon's voice. Daddy, bring me a present. Journalists call me a hero. Human rights organizations give me awards. But I know the truth. For 12 years, I was complicit. Every time I pressed the shutter, I documented their suffering. Did I record the truth? No. I just watched. I just stood by. Now I live in a small apartment in Locarsia. Outside my window, I see ordinary streets. Children laughing and running. People walking freely. But I'm still in prison. Every night, I crawl through that tunnel. I drown in that river. And I hear Seoyeon's voice. Daddy, when are you coming home? The chip may have changed the world. But my family never came back. This is the price of freedom. The weight of truth. 213 files. 2 lives. I ask myself every day, was it worth it? I still don't have an answer. Maybe I never will. But I'll keep living. Because this is what I chose. This is the cross I bear. I no longer hold a camera. But I still record. Guilt, longing, regret, and someday, when we meet again, I imagine what I'll say. I'm sorry, won't be enough. I love you, won't be sufficient. Maybe I won't be able to say anything at all. I'll just kneel and beg for forgiveness. Eransia's night sky remains dark. But somewhere, someone is seeing the truth. The records I left behind. That's all I could do. Break 12 years of silence. And lose everything in return. The truth behind the lens set me free, but it also imprisoned me forever.